Hello class, today we are going to have a special lesson. We are going to build the Collect and Connect figure Bane from DC Universe Classics Wave 16, and then we're going to have a look at that figure. Before we do that, we're just going to take a quick look at some of the other figures that were in the wave. So we have Robin, and there were two of him, right? We picked the one with the cooler hair. We've got the Creeper, who I'm going to have to remove from camera because my camera keeps wanting to focus on him because he's bright yellow. We've got, to me, the figure that is probably the best, in my opinion, from the line, Jonah Hex, because he's awesome. We've got Azrael Batman, which is also pretty good. We've got one of the Metal Men, Mercury, who I don't really care about. And then on the end, we have the Riddler over here, which I thought was pretty horrible. Well, I don't want to say horrible, just eh. I think that's a good description. Eh. He's there. Who cares? So, take a quick look down. We've got some of the bits here of Bane. Looks like he just got his ass whipped by somebody. Maybe by this Batman guy over there. That'd be him. We know that happens at some point. So what we're going to do is, I think we maybe do a quick cut, and then we will start working on building this figure. Okay, so we've got all the pieces of Bane. As we looked at all the pieces individually as we were talking about the individual figures that you had to buy to collect the pieces of Bane. And now we can start putting them together. So I'm going to start with the legs. Let's see if we can just reef these on. Come on. I've never been too good at doing this. There we go. There's one. There's the second. Now, as I'm doing this, I actually did do some reading on Bane on Wikipedia because I don't know a whole lot about the character. We know he's the one who broke Batman's back in the early 90s, and that was kind of a big deal. And I had to see whether or not Bane was a long-standing established character before then, and he really wasn't. He, I don't want to say he was introduced for the purpose of breaking Batman's back, but he wasn't around for a long time before then. And his little backstory, as best as I can tell, is that he grew up in a prison. He's really, really smart. And then when he gets out of prison, he decides he wants to go hunt the Batman, which he does. And he releases a whole bunch of Arkham Asylum inmates whom Batman spends months trying to hunt down, and then Bane attacks him when Batman is basically exhausted at the end. So he's actually pretty clever in that respect. Since then, it seems like they haven't known what they wanted to do with Bane. He possibly was Batman's brother or half-brother, which turned out to be false, and then he became the protege of Ra's al Ghul, and then he tried to destroy the Lazarus Pits, and more recently he joined, what was it, the Secret Six, or the Suicide Squad? I can't remember which one it was. And seemed to be involved with Scandal Savage. Seems like, again, for a while they didn't know what to do with him, but he is a little more, they're not sure whether he's a good guy or a bad guy anymore. He killed Judo Master, which probably wasn't very nice, but since then he's kind of said he desires to be Batman when they had the whole battle for the cowl thing. So he's kind of reformed in a certain respect. I guess, again, it doesn't seem like they're 100% sure what to do with him. So, oh, come on, there we go. Okay. Let's get some of these arms in there. Pop that in place, maybe. Fold this out a little bit. And I guess the good thing is that if it takes this much effort to put the stinking arms in, there we go, it won't come out again. And, oh, should have mentioned this before we started. I was talking about whether to build this figure with the harness on or off. And as you can tell, since I've already started, we're going to have it just be on. Because I guess that's the way he's supposed to look, right? So we'll put that back on him. Even though we could have left it off. And I don't think it would have been bad, because I have seen him like that. And I think that would have been pretty cool. So, let's get this other arm in there. Come on. Whoa. There we go. Maybe this is one of those things where you're supposed to get your parents to do it. Oh wait, I think I'm a little old for that now. Some assembly required. Please have your parents do it. There we go. Look at me, I got no head. So, last but not least, we've got his head. And now his mask. I mean, seriously, it looks like one of those wrestling masks or some kind of weirdo fetish mask. Like, honestly, I don't know. But I do kind of like the fact that the character himself doesn't really wear a costume in the strictest sense. I'm having a hard time reefing this on here. He's just a guy who wears pants, a kind of a muscle shirt, and then he wears a mask to hide his face. no spandex tights and crap like that. I'm having a really hard time doing this here. Let me try this again. Come on. Ah! Whew! There we go. That thing ain't never coming off. Like, ever. So there we have them. There's one last little detail we've got to do. We are going to connect the hose that supplies him with Venom, which apparently he doesn't use anymore. Or at least he tries not to. We're going to put that in the back of his head. Because that was his weakness before, right? You just sever the hose and then he goes into withdrawal because he doesn't have the Venom and bad things and badness. So, there we have it. We have Bane, the Collect and Connect figure from DC Universe Classics Wave 16. This dude is awesome. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take a quick cut, and then we'll be back in a second and we'll talk more about Bane. And I'm back, and we're still talking about Bane. We're going to have a closer look at him now. We've looked at the parts individually, but now we can look at him as a whole. Because, you know, you have that synergy thing where the sum is greater than the, or the whole thing is greater than the sum of its parts. Woo, it's like a business thing. Synergy is such a stupid word. If you use that word, you probably should be punched in the face. And Bane could do that. So, just to look at his color scheme here, I mean, there really isn't a whole lot to Bane's color scheme. He wears a lot of black. He's got a gray belt here, which is nice. He's all skin color up top, which is good. And he's got his little mask here up top. The only real kind of accent color is the hose, which runs up to the back of his head. And that's that kind of, it's a translucent green, which is nice. I guess is that usually the color? I don't know, I think it's maybe been different colors depending on where you've seen them. But it looks pretty good. In terms of the sculpt, it's really nice. It's not just a larger, doesn't seem like it's just a larger scale of the standard mold. Obviously his torso is huge because the whole point is that he was strong to begin with, and then when he takes the Venom, it makes him that much stronger, and it really builds the muscle, so you can see the veins in his arms. He's got the huge shoulders there. Dude is just big and impressive. Even on the boots, one thing I like is that you can see how the laces are tied, and the crisscross going back across the boots, and all the way down. We've even got tread marks on his boots there. Almost look like Doc Martens. Anyways. Looks very good. We can see that he's kind of got the, I want to say like weightlifter kind of leather gloves with the knuckles exposed, which is actually kind of silly. You wouldn't, I wouldn't recommend, if you want to punch somebody and you're going to wear leather gloves, don't have the knuckles exposed. Cover them, because then, you know, you're less likely to damage your knuckles. In fact, you shouldn't punch people in the face anyway, unless you really need to, because the human skull is very thick, and the bones in your hands are not. And you're quite likely going to break your hand. So, don't do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't punch somebody, I'm just saying you're probably going to break your hand if you do. Anyways, so the sculpt looks amazing on this figure. In terms of the articulation, it is going to be very similar to a DCUC figure, right? His head moves a fair bit. It's very stiff, which is good. Now, the only thing that's going to impede that a little bit is his hose here for the Venom, so you can only have him turn and look so far. But it is clearly on a ball joint, so we can move that around. He's got the normal shoulder articulation, but again, I always seem to do the left arm. The hose here for the Venom is going to screw that up a little bit, but I suppose if we just pop that out the back, we can see his arm goes all the way around. It's going to go up and then down. He's going to rotate here at the bicep. Oh man, the joint's very stiff, but it will. There we go. We can bend at the elbow, and of course we can rotate his hand at the wrist. He has that joint in his torso, so we can kind of look up and down. His waist, 360 all the way around. And the legs, again, kind of a standard joint situation for DCU figures. They can go back a little bit, forward. You can go out to the side. Ooh, that's really tough. And then we can rotate the leg at the thigh. We can bend the knee. He has the ankle there, which goes back and forth. But one other thing that he has, which is interesting, is that you can rotate also at the top of his boot, which seems to be a little uncharacteristic for a lot of DCUC figures. They don't tend to have that extra little bit. That'll help him stand up, which is nice. There we go. So, how awesome is this figure? This figure is very, very awesome. So how big does he stand? Let's just stand him up here for a second. We'll put the hose back in. Hose head. Hoser! Oh, that's kind of a Canadian thing. We just call him Hoser. That could be his wrestling name. The Hosed Hoser. So first what we're going to do is we'll just grab one of the other figures from the wave. We'll grab another Batman villain. And I'm going to grab Riddler. And we'll stand Riddler here in front of Bane. And we can see how much taller Bane is than Riddler. He'd be what, on scale, what, a foot or two taller, I guess it would look there. So he is a fair bit bigger, as he should be. The man is huge, and then he takes the venom and he gets bigger. And since this Riddler's stupid and I promised I'd do that, Bane is just going to go like BAM and smoke him and then stomp on him a little bit. It's kind of like a wrestling thing, just stomping on the guy. Little bastard. Get out of here. Ugh. Ha! Take that. Stupid Riddler guy. You know what? He's kind of like Undertaker. He should have like a choke slam kind of thing. Or tombstone pile driver. That'd be awesome too. Anyways. Now, just for a little bit else comparison, we see that he's a fair bit bigger than kind of your standard DC Universe figure. Stand him up here. Used to be able to do that. There we go. There is another figure that we have collected and connected that might be a good comparison, and that, of course, is Kilowog. Probably still my favorite Connect and Connect figure from DCU. But if we stand them together, we can see that Bane is not as big as Kilowog. At first, when I started collecting the pieces, like, oh, he's going to be pretty big. Maybe he's as big as Kilowog. No, not so much. The legs are just about the same size, but really the difference is going to be in the torso. Kilowog is just much, much bigger. I still think Kilowog's a little too big, scale-wise. But that's okay, because Kilowog's still awesome. But we can see that Bane isn't quite as big as him. I think this is an excellent, excellent figure. I don't know what kind of pose he's going to go into. If I was skilled at this kind of thing, I would want to do something where he's breaking Batman's back, but I don't know if that's going to work. But he's very, very good. And you know what? If you were going to get a Build-A-Figure, I think he's worth having. Unfortunately, you're going to have to get some figures that are a little bit lame. That just seems to be the way it is, like this guy and Mercury, but that's okay. I think Bane is worth it. If I was going to give Bane a grade, Bane gets a grade of, you know what, he gets A+. He is one of the top DCUC figures for me, and he's going to be proudly displayed with some of my other favorite ones. And then, you know, it's the size, it's the amount of detail, the fact that he's got the softer plastic piece for his suit, or I don't want to call it a suit, his muscle shirt kind of deal. And he just looks really, really good. Lots of detail. We've got the zipper up top. Whoa, sorry, almost lost my camera there. For his little fetish mask. We can even see here some details. The cloth on the mask, I don't know how well my camera's going to pick it up, but we can see little wrinkles on it. Even his eyes look a little wrinkled. That seems odd to me, because you'd think there would be kind of a plastic piece there. At any rate, I think we gave Bane a grade of A+. I think he's excellent. An excellent Build-A-Figure. Definitely worth having. That, my friends, is our review on Bane, the Collect and Connect figure from DC Universe Classics Wave 16. Rush out and get these ones because he's really awesome. Thank you very much. Class is dismissed.